Hello, everybody. Hi. Hello. And bonjour, Michelle. It's nice to see you all. It's nice to be together today for Ask Me Anything. It's an audacious title, I think. What are we if not taking a risk here? So I'm going to invite you all to center in with me in this moment. Let's take a big breath together and call on the sacred anatomy angels to hold us as we work together, as we open our hearts, minds, bodies, and spirits to the potential of connection, to the potential of meeting each other in a beautiful sacred field where we all do connect all the time. Here we are. This is our field. I'm so glad to see your beautiful smile, Juliana and Ruth. Hi, Kirsten, Elizabeth, Lisa, Celine, welcome, Ritza, Kate, hi, honey. Hi. And Michelle again, bonjour. It's nice to have you here. Hello, Rita. And hi, Amy. It's good to see you again. I'm glad you're back. Abby and Carissa and Diane Peterson, all of you are welcome. Christine, hi, honey. Honey, it's good to see you guys. Christina, I'm so glad you're here. Hi, Teresa. This is so nice to see you. I love you. All right, so we have New York, and we have so many people from so many places. And as I am looking around the room here today, I can see the open hearts, I can see the open minds, and I can see the hope that we can all keep ourselves moving forward and holding the light high. I don't know about you guys, but this time seems to be the time we are born for. This struggle, this stress, this difficulty in the world, in the United States, but also in Europe and in Asia, it's pretty much everywhere. So we're not singled out in the United States. Everybody's having struggles. So I think it's important that we remember that we came to hold the torch. We came to hold the light high. We didn't come to get swirling into the depression of how terrible it is. We came to see the truth, which is that we are all manifestations of divine consciousness. That's the truth. And if we can just remember that, it's a lot easier to hear distressing news because that news is it's elusive. It's on an elusive thing. And there's Naomi, my Canadian beauty. Hello, hello. Great. Hi, Barbara. I love it. I love as people, come in, I feel us spreading even further from Canada to France to, all over the States to Paris, and there is our beautiful Elisa, our European practitioner. It's great to see you all. So, a question has appeared from the irrepressible Elizabeth, who I so love talking to. And I am really interested to see what this is. What is the anatomical relationship between the star point and the Grand Cross? What a great question. Cheryl, can you show us some graphics? Show us both the star point and the Grand Cross, that fancy Grand Cross picture, the one I like. As Kimmy has gotten better at translating my words and ideas and pictures into computer graphics, her art has gotten more and more extraordinary. Kim Glass Chu has been working with me since she was a kid, since she was a teenager. She did my first website with her. I guess our first website was done in like 2011 or something like that. We did that together, and that started our collaboration. And now she's an adult. Now she's a grown up, and she keeps doing amazing work. And she's worked for all the big tech giants, doing all kinds of things, but she does our graphics. Here's the Grand Cross. So the Grand Cross occurs when the core and the channel cross. This is the star point. So the Grand Cross actually occurs a little bit above the star point. So they are not in conflict. The star point is a little below it on the core. If you look at the Grand Cross meeting, you can see all this light splashing out from every direction. Those are called the Grand Cross seals. That they were mapped by one of my students. His name is David Kitts, and he lives in Hawaii. And David years ago said, I think there are seals at the corners. And we looked, and sure enough, there were. So those seals at the corners have a way that they kind of hold the Grand Cross in place. But there's such an extraordinary connection when the core and the channel cross that it's almost like an explosion of light coming out of that part of our body. And that's at the very center of who and what we are. You might think of it as like the belly button of the energetic anatomy. Now, of course, this is right inside your physical body. The star point is a little below that in most people. I have seen it above it in some people, but in most people it's below. So it's kind of below the belly button. The Grand Cross is a little above the belly button, but above that is the solar plexus chakra. Can we see also the chakra pictures, not the major chakra picture, but the picture of where they're all located on the core? Is that possible, Cheryl? You can just move that one over if you would. She's doing double, triple duty here today with all these graphics. But it's important to realize that these things do not conflict. Okay, so if you look here, thank you so much. If you look here at the blended energy system, you can see how dense the chakras in the biolayer are. And the lowest chakra in the biolayer is the one at the root. The one right above that is the dantian, and that's in the gut. And then the one above that is the solar plexus, which is right in the solar plexus. Now, so there's the solar plexus and the Grand Cross and the star point are all happening in this very small space. So we have these ideas, especially looking at the pictures, we have these ideas that everything is just really big, but they're not that big, and there's room for all of it. So the solar plexus chakra is above the Grand Cross and the star point, and the star point is above the dantian, and obviously the Grand Cross. So it kind of goes solar plexus chakra, Grand Cross, star point, dantian. So I hope that the sort of the location of all of those things makes sense. Now, here we are, we're looking at this central place in the energy anatomy. Are you interested in the function of the Grand Cross, Elizabeth, or is this what you were interested in? Is this what you were curious about? I would love to know. Oh, there you are, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, are you on mute?
Sorry, I have a microphone that I always forget. No, I wasn't on mute, but in it, I have two things. Okay, the microphone. No, I know, I believe I've heard you say that the Grand Cross and the Star Point can kind of move up and down depending on where one is in one's journey. And it just occurred to me, they're really close to each other. And I was just really interested in the relative locations.
Well, you attended the wisdom teachings.
That's right.
And we talked a lot about the channel.
And if other people would like to hear it, I think it would be exciting to everyone else. I found it quite exciting. So,
Well, the channel is a very complicated part of the subtle anatomy because it's basically, if you can think of the core as the father of the structure, you can think of the channel as the mother of the structure. So we are a combination of our ability to hold space and our ability to stay in time. So sequential unfolding. And then, of course, the structure itself is kind of outside of time and space, but the physical is not. And so we have this subtle energy truth within us that's keeping us oriented, if you will, within time and space. And then the subtle is in touch with the cosmic. So we have this amazing capacity to be in union with not just the physical material reality of here and now, but the subtle reality of what is beyond us, what is outside of us, and in fact, what is us, because the core is totality, the channel is totality, and we are the individuation of those energies. So that's taking it down to the most fundamental truths about the sacred anatomy. That being said, it's important to understand that the channel and the core are very, very similar. I mean, they're essentially identical. They're fragments of divine source. They're filaments, if you would. And they are expressing in different ways. So the core runs from top to bottom, and the energies are spiraling down. So a lot of people who study various forms of energy work say, oh, but the energies also are going up. Yes, they are going up, but they're not going up in the core. They're only going down in the core. The channel is only coming in from the outside and through the body and then out again. So I think what's really important to remember is that these parts of us are foundational and everything is relational. So all of the parts of the structure are relating to these two primordial energetics. The core, which is spiraling down in its triple current stream of function, purpose, and wisdom, which is function is blue, purpose is red, wisdom is gold and yellow. And as they're coming down, they are essentially divine function, divine purpose, and divine wisdom. It's not personal human wisdom, personal human purpose, personal human function. So it's divine. So we have within us, and this is the point I want to make, we have within us the ability to touch the source right there. We don't have to go to a, interloper between us, an intercessor interloper, basically. We don't have to have somebody translate for us. We don't have to get it from a guru or a teacher. We are it already. And the bottom line is we have to wake up to our own truth, which is that we're unfolding constantly. Creation is constantly changing. We are in the dimension of change constantly, constantly, constantly. The channel coming through has this capacity to hold what we call the echelons of the channel. So there are things inside of the channel, and the channel is the triple current stream coming in, and it's spiraling in. So when the two currents cross each other, one's going this way, one's going that way, they create a toroid implosion. And that toroidal implosion is what causes the star point at the, not the star point, God, space case, but it causes the Grand Cross at the center. There we go. So the central crossing point of core and channel is the communication of the great I am, which is what we are at the center, and the other great I am, okay? So when they first meet, at the beginning of your soul's journey, when they first meet, the two of them are I am consciousness spinning through space and outside of any reality that you and I know. And they meet, and then total confusion because what has awakened them is self-awareness. So the self-awareness occurs at the source. The source explodes in billions and trillions and gazillions of fragments, and it is source everywhere, source out all consciousness, which is what space is, consciousness. And as we travel through this consciousness, we can see these filaments and fragments. Those of you who are sort of space cadets and travel in the realms of the etheric, this is what we often see, is these lines swooping and swimming. So when those two meet, they're both just I am, I am, I am, I am, and they meet, and it's like one says I am and the other says I am, and it's confusion. There's a little bit of chaos because you can't both be I am, and they are aware of that. So there's one becomes I am not. So one is I am, one is I am not, and duality exists. That's at the very, very beginning of who and what we are. To resolve this, they create something together, your structure. And that structure is created by the core releasing individuated currents that come splitting off and swirling and swooping all around. And over, a passage of time, this appears as a soul layer, or a rainbow body, as the Tibetans call it. The channel and the core then agree together to be I am. So they move out of duality and into oneness. So we are the product of evolutionary growth at the most primordial level. So primordial awareness is the awareness of self, I am. And then the recognition of meeting an other. And when we accept an other, we create our own oneness. And in that creation of oneness, we become partners with the great all. I don't know if that's what you meant, Elizabeth, but that's what you're saying. And I want to welcome Ken. I loved your letter. Thank you for sending me such an awesome letter. And there's my Abby. Hi. It's good to see you. And Barbara, Leslie, how are you feeling? Are you in good shape? Give me a thumbs up or down or what's going on? Oh my gosh. And Hosanna, welcome back from Hawaii. Aloha. It's good to see you. So listen, everybody, that was the place we started. But we're ready for another question. Is there one more? Cheryl, what else is in the chat?
Well, Naomi wants to clarify, does this mean the witnessing chamber is only in the Grand Cross, or is it in the whole channel?
No, the witnessing chamber. Oh, so the Naomi is speaking to the anatomy of what's in the channel sheath, because the core and the channel are both surrounded by sheath. And she's asking a question of, well, where is the witnessing chamber? So the witnessing chamber is inside of the channel. So the action there, oh, this is great. So this is the echelons of the channel. And what you see there, that silver line, that's called the umbilicus. Some of you know about this from studying astral projection and those kinds of things. There's a silver cord that does connect the physical body and the subtle self, and it goes all the way out to the edge of the structure, and it comes all the way in to the center of the core. And this is a picture of the channel. So the channel is made of the energy of the wisdom current and a little bit of the energy of the purpose current. So it's got this kind of golden color. The blue there you see is the function current. And then the echelons of the channel, there's two parts. The echelons of the channel are the witnessing chamber. Cheryl, can you point to that? Okay, so that light pale blue is the witnessing chamber. And then the other part is what's called the subtle light matrix zone. And if you could point to that, the subtle light matrix zone. So the subtle light matrix zone is the part of us, because the channel is a relational with the bones of light. The channel is joined the bones of light system. It creates the bones of light. In fact, it spins out these sort of golden wheels, if you will, around it. And then you see the membranes in the picture above and below between the layers. Those are essentially the rib cage of the sacred anatomy. That's the framework. And the framework comes out of the channel and establishes the layers. So it's an extremely important part. The subtle light matrix is what's found in all bones. There's the framework. And you can see all these membranes between all the stratas of the layers and then there's this sort of rib cage effect that's held by the darker color. You see those darker ones. And those are framework segments. And those actually hold the subtle anatomy up and open and continue to project this deep, purposeful wisdom that is what the subtle light matrix is made of. It's made of a bunch of different energies that evoke that. And they are supporting the continued regrowth and sort of recreation of the framework, because as things age in human time, they become less stable. And so we need more backup. We need more to arrive. And so that's what part of the channel does. Part of the channel is a regrowing part of the bones of life. So it keeps us strong. Now here's just an aside before I get to the witnessing chamber, which is all the way through the entire channel. Again, as is the other one, which is your subtle light matrix zone. So both of those go all the way through from front to back. Okay. So there's a ton of stuff about the channel. The channel is what anchors us in time, and it actually stores on it events that are significant in a soul's evolution, and we can touch those, we can find those. So as we map the sacred anatomy, we're actually starting to understand sort of how the soul moves in the spiral through time and how events occur. So the spiral of the channel has this quality of tracking time for the soul's evolution. It's an interesting thing because it isn't straight, it's not like this happens, this happens, this happens. It's more like all of it happens here, all of it happens here, all of it happens here. So there's a very expanded idea of what that is contained in the channel. The witnessing chamber is the part of us that when we accept a shift, relaxes, just relaxes. And when you are witnessed by another beautiful being, another manifestation of divine consciousness, when you're witnessed with no agenda, with no desire to fix you or help you or make you better, but just to witness you, to lovingly witness you. When you're in that space, you guys, the witnessing chamber relaxes and expands. And it's that part of you that allows not just the autonomic nervous system to let down, but allows you to feel that expansion of being seen. How many of you have had that experience of like literally being seen just allows you to get bigger, allows you to be more present? Yeah. So it's an extraordinary thing. And It's not hard to do. Would you like to do that? Would you like to witness each other? Thank you, Kate. I see you. So I'm asking the people who haven't experienced this, would you like to experience this? Okay, all right, good. I got to have your login, I got to have a yes, because sacred anatomy, energy medicine is not something that's done to you. It's something that you partner with someone else to experience, which is way better than having things done to you, don't you think? being there as a participant as opposed to this passive lump. I can't stand being a passive lump. How about you? No. So it's really simple to do, you guys. You just take your little sweet little hands like this and put them in an open posture. Make sure your legs aren't crossed and that you're sitting up straight. And we are in a field together. We are in a morphic field that is what I call the sacred anatomy field. We are here together. We're being witnessed currently by an angelic vibration. And if we can sit together in the field and witness each other, we can expand into acceptance that change is occurring. Because just by talking about these things, I know it sounds strange, but change is occurring. You're shifting. Just, can you feel yourself lifting? Can you feel yourself getting lighter? So everybody take a deep breath and just say out loud, I accept the possibility of shift and change. There you go. Can you feel the shift? Can you feel yourself expanding? Ah. And now move your hands like this and say out loud, I accept the possibility that I have an offering to make in the world. Breathe in. I accept the possibility. I have a gift to give. I have an offering to give in the world. And kind of allowing yourself to accept that makes you taller, gives you length. And now we're going to look. So we've done width, we've done length. Now we're going to do depth. So put one hand, sort of imagine your hand being behind your body and this hand being in front of your heart. And just take a deep breath. I accept just the possibility that I am loved. Just the possibility that I am loved. There you go. Now, take a deep breath. Tell me what you felt. What did you feel happening? What did you feel? I'd love to know. I'd love to hear what you felt. Just raise your hand. Take yourself off mute. Go ahead, Kate. Come off the mute and dive in. The water's fine.
I expanded 3 different times. Forward and back. Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you. I needed that.
Yeah. Did you find one of those directions was stronger than another?
Yeah, the ones that came for me out and then the back.
So at kind of at the heart.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, hallelujah.
Mhm.
I love
Definitely.
that. Thank you for sharing, Kate. Thank you. Who else has a comment? When she says she expanded, I want to ask Kate again. Kate, what do you mean by I expanded?
Um, I felt more whole. And I it felt like I dropped something and all of a sudden it was clear.
Wow.
So my morning has been kind of rough. So I think that that's maybe what I got rid of.
Wow. That's powerful
Yeah.
because just by being seen, by being witnessed by all of us, and there really wasn't an agenda. We weren't sitting here going, we're going to fix Kate or anything. She was just expanding and accepting the possibility of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And when we just accept the possibility, the echelons of the channel open, and there's like this expanded awareness that continues all throughout the bones of light. And as they are expanding, we are getting larger this way, we're getting larger this way, and we're getting larger this way. Is it your physical body that's getting larger? Kate?
It is, but it seems to me like it stays.
The physical body is, it's materially formed out of electromagnetic energy. It's here. It's not going to
Yes.
terribly expand. But what happens at a biodynamic cellular level
Yep.
is the cells inflate. And it has this experience, because essentially the sacred anatomy is like a big cell, right?
Yeah.
So as it expands, so do the cells within the physicality, because they're a mirror of the larger cell.
Mhm.
Thank you. That was exciting. Thank you for sharing. Naomi, you've got your hand up. Yay.
I found that was really lovely because you taught us how to do that for others as a practitioner, and to have it done in a group just feels really amazing. And particularly, I feel more space as being around me when it happens. It's just more, any tightness that was there seems to relax, either around me physically, in my muscles and in my lungs. Like, things just open, and that's what I love about the witnessing stance. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. And you're wonderful at witnessing your clients. And I know that because I've watched you do it, and you're amazing at it. But how lovely to be in a group of people as a sensitive person, which you totally are, and to feel the expansion of the field as well as your own expansion. So it's that interconnectedness, like, how do we join hands? How are we connected as humans? The more chaotic things have gotten on our planet, the more I'm trying to figure out, like, how do we connect? What is it that allows us to feel each other's pain, but also to feel each other's joy,
Mhm.
And it's this quality of connection in the witnessing chamber. And as we're witnessing, the structure and the field respond. So
Mhm.
it's quite amazing. And Michelle says, this is great. Thank you, my Naomi. I love that. I can see better what the bones of light fit in. I have just started reading about them. Well, bravo. Or I should say brava. That's great. That's beautiful. And Ritza says, did you mention there are upward energies, but not in the core? Could you expand on that? Yes, I can. There are energies that are rising up in the core sheath. There are communications networks within the core sheath that are part of the blended energy system, which you guys know because they're called the chakras, and they're going down and up.
And
So
Desda,
Cheryl, go
I
ahead.
saw that question and I thought, ooh, I could think of a couple of examples of where energy goes up in the sacred anatomy, and I keyed up a couple pictures. So here we go.
Wow, look at that.
So you can actually see. uh, in different systems where energy goes up. So I'll let you take it from here, Desda.
Thanks, honey. So the caduceus is the bones of light, and the caduceus is also the vertebral column of the core, runs from the bottom to the top, and energy goes up the front and then quantum leaps through the core and then goes down at the back. Quantum leaps through the bottom and then goes up again and is a solid yin circuit, and then coming from above at the front, going through the core at the bottom, and then coming back at the back is the yang circuit, and it closes up at the top. And that's a sealed double circuit thing. And you've seen pictures of the great caduceus, of the healing caduceus. This is what it is in the subtle anatomy. This is what it looks like. And so we have yin arising at the front and descending at the back. We have yang descending at the front and rising at the back. And I think it's important to distinguish that yin and yang, in my parlance, yin can be feminine, yang can be masculine, but I prefer to think of yin as the accepting, not passive, but accepting, lunar, energetic, and the yang as a more outward moving or creative, solar, energetic. So I think of those things because I'm not interested in assigning gender to the caduceus particularly. And then the vertical chakra conduits are fascinating because what you're looking at here, these three balls, that's what a chakra looks like. And it's kind of a rough drawing, but in the very center, those three circles in the center, that's the core. And then at the front, you have energies coming in and then going out the back. So this is like the chakra laid bare without the pathways, the soul path that comes in at the front, and then the chakra current that moves out at the back. We're not showing that. What we are showing you is the vertical chakra conduits, which move through the front of the function part of the chakra, at the back of both the purpose and the wisdom parts of the chakra. And within those conduits are ways that all of the chakras talk to each other. So the throat chakra can send a message to the heart chakra via the function current. So it can be specific. It's not general, it's specific information. And then the heart chakra can send a message back to the throat chakra that's specific to maybe the purpose current, or to the function current. So you see how the messages can be extremely detailed, very specific. And then over here, we've got the template web, and there are energies that are coming in and moving from well, it's hard to see in this picture, but the edge of the template collects energies, brings them in, and then they go all the way into the E stomach, which is, it goes through the conduit of the star point, down the conduit and into the E stomach, and then the E stomach releases energies down after they've been personalized and initialized. So how we absorb source energies is they're personalized for our use. And so these are three different ways that energy go up and down, and we have information coming up and down in the template web as well. So there's all kinds of movement up, but it's not as important as the core's movement down. Christina says, oh, hi, Hosanna. She says hello and yes. And then Christina says, I've always wondered why the chi pool has two pools, wisdom and function, but not. It's because they're the corridors of the chakra. They're not actually inside that 9-centered area. Why don't you show us a picture of the chi pool? Yeah, okay, so what we've got at the center here, you can see, if you look closely, you can see the core part of the chakra, function, purpose, and wisdom. So the purpose is in an interior place. What happens with this chi pool is that the corridors blow up and they become the pools. Let's look at a regular chakra so I can show the comparison. So that chakra is completely different than any of the others. That is the chi pool. It's the bottom chakra at the very bottom of the structure. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so you see the corridor. The corridor is on the side. The incoming current is called the soul pathway. Generic energy comes into the chakra, spins around inside what would be called, in this case, the wisdom node of intentionality. So the intention for that chakra is set. We don't know which chakra this is. Let's call it the throat chakra. And then the energy that's inside that swirling node splits, and part of it goes around the side, outside of the core, and part of it goes through the core. So when it meets at the back in what's called receptivity nodule of the wisdom current, you have a cooling of the energies, because the energies that go through the core are like, they've seen God. They're blown, their minds are blown, and the energy goes into the back, and it's like, wow, that was so incredible. I went through the core and I couldn't merge with it. I couldn't blend with it. I was kicked out of it because of the way that everything is spinning. It kicks it out. And then around the side, you've got this corridor that's filled with the energy of intention. So it calms the energy that comes out at the back down. Purpose current, on the other hand, does not need that, because it is essentially the tip of the arrow. Because as the energies come through the chakras, they go into the chakra stream, and the chakra stream carries the message, the information, the function, the purpose, and the wisdom of the throat chakra, heart chakra, whatever chakra it is. It carries it out and delivers it into the soul layer. So it comes to the soul layer, then it dissembles and goes out in single currents instead of as a triple current stream. So that's how a chakra works. That's the anatomy of a chakra, which is very complicated. And if you didn't totally understand it, please don't go crazy. You just got a quick intro into the complexity of the chakra, which has essentially 11 sections that are functioning. Now, Michelle H. said she felt a lot of tingling and joy arising as she expanded, which is lovely. Thank you for sharing that. So Diane Peterson is a researcher. She is committed to learning, and she dowses. We use a dowsing rod in this work. This is one I manufacture, and she's got one. She's using it. And she says she's dowsing that witnessing increases cellular metabolism for a few days. Most likely it does. Because anytime you give a cell more space, it can experience growth. It can experience change. So cellular metabolism, at least for a few days, I might say could last longer. And I think it completely depends on the energetic that you come into the witnessing with, what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So for example, if one comes into being witnessed and maybe they have cancer, they have maybe a type of cancer, let's give it a name, liver cancer, let's say, there is a way that being witnessed takes the pressure off of the metabolic process of cancer. So it allows the cancer to slow down in its growing, because the beautiful interior of the cell is quieted. And when we look at that, we're actually not looking at genetics, we're looking at metabolism. So the metabolic approach is one I'm quite interested in treating cancer. And there's some great YouTube videos. What's the name of the guy? I'll have to see if I can, I think she texted me his name. I'm going to turn my phone on so I can see the text. But there's a fellow who's doing amazing research in Boston about metabolic cause for cancer, because the parts of the cell that are dedicated to initial growth, initial awakening, are different than the DNA. So the DNA genetic experience comes after these other parts that started going. And my brain is not kicking in here today. So give me a second. Let's see what she says. Thomas Seyfried, Seyfried. He's a phenomenal researcher in Boston, and he is doing incredible work on the metabolic cause of cancer. So this is the kind of stuff I read for fun. How about you? Anyway, he's on YouTube and he has a bunch of videos. So it's worth checking out. And so anyway, thank you, Diane. That was very lovely.
Can I just add one thing?
Yeah.
Just the witnessing, you know, what you were saying about witnessing someone with cancer allows the cancer process to slow down. And wouldn't that be true of any disease process, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual? That witnessing allows the pathology to quiet and calm and reduce, and allows the inherent health and well-being to expand and become stronger. And just that itself can be quite profoundly healing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely. And I think that, I mean, really it goes for anything from Alzheimer's to, you know, cancer to a common cold, you know. If at a microbiologic level we expand, there's a strength that evolves, not just in the cells, but in all the smaller parts of the cells, you know, way, way, way inside. So we start to have more protonic firing, you know, we start to do so many more things than what we initially thought of when we did the witnessing process, which is, oh, I can accept the possibility that I'm healing, which is a sort of the consciousness shift that's happening at a microcellular level.
Yeah, I'm loving that. Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
In biodynamic cranial, we focus on potency, on increasing potency in the system. So as we're sharing this, and I think I've just naturally been doing this as I work, but I'm going to bring more awareness to this, of really even more so witnessing the potency, both energetically and within the physical body, as I'm witnessing my client, to really increase that, and that alone ignites a healing process as well. So there's so many layers at which we can potentially ignite a healing process, both energetically and then within the physical body, and all these levels down to cellular, simply by the act of witnessing.
Right. I remember years ago, one of my then students said, I don't need to learn anything else from you. This is everything, you know.
Mm.
And she in fact was a cranial sacral therapist. So there's a certain understanding that cranial sacral therapists have, and osteopaths have, and other healers have, that is like the simpler the better, you know. And if you're just in the expanse of opening, that the body will in fact right itself. And it's true that the body does seek wholeness. The body is constantly seeking wholeness. And the sacred and subtle anatomy is always seeking wholeness too. So the experience of finding wholeness is, I mean, that's the big journey, isn't it? That's the one that we're on. But talking about, excuse me, the mitochondria, which is in the inside. Jackie, you're upside down. The mitochondria is, is the thing that is transformational. So the DNA reacts to the mitochondria. So it's pretty interesting. Anyway, now, Hosanna, you've got a comment here. We're relying on hearing first to do this exercise. Are we? Why do you, I mean, you say that because, can you come off the mute and say what your thinking is behind that statement?
I was just referring to, I'm sitting here listening to directions of how to move hands, you know, and the first thing that's allowing me to do that is because I'm hearing you saying those words.
Right.
So that, isn't that our first responder? What is our first responder to any of this? How does our hearing play into doing these activities?
Well, hearing is a sensing skill. So hearing, sight, smell, you know, the 5, 6 senses, if you will, touch,
Yeah.
you know, all the senses.
Yeah.
Those are equally important. One is not better than the other. And one of the reasons that we have you placing your hands where you do, and yes, you are hearing the instruction to do that. But the truth is, this is what's happening before and above what I'm saying is the thought. The extragenesis, which is, you know, I always come back to extragenesis. My students know. They like this. So extragenesis is before and above the beginning. And what it is the possibility, the potential. And so before I even say, place your hands here, I am attuning to the potential of what will happen if we do this. So not even what will happen, but the potential of the thought of what will happen. And that is immediately conveyed in the field. So the very first thing you're doing is essentially attuning to the field. And the field says, hello, and then I give an instruction, and it seems very meat and potatoes, nuts and bolts. Here we are doing this exercise, right? But it's already been done in the field. It's already being held by the sacred and the subtle. It's already within the truth of your connection to your own totality. So and hearing is really important. We want to hear, but it's not the most important thing. The most important is the allowance, the acceptance, allowing. That's what's important more than anything. Thanks for that question. That was awesome. So, oh, and she says, how does our each individualizes hearing translate to the sacred anatomy? How do the senses translate to the subtle anatomy? That's a really, really good and profound question. So the bio layer is electromagnetic in nature. The electromagnetic field is electromagnetic in nature. And we have inside of us what's called the light body, which is based on the firing of the protons in every cell. So we have 3 different segments or sections that we could think of as electromagnetic. This is where hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting, this is where all this happens. And there is very little connection between the sacred and the absolutely divine experience of tasting incredible food, the, you know, the transformative experience of hearing great music or seeing phenomenal art that touch our souls. So there is the effect of those things radiates out. The experience of looking at an amazing Renoir and just looking at the red in a cape on a Renoir, you know, the color itself is stimulating every part of the electromagnetic field, but it's also impacting the soul. The soul is experiencing a resonance because the red energy at the center is the purpose, and there you're looking at this red cape and you feel purposeful in your watching and you're looking, you feel expanded, you feel awakened, you feel alive. The same thing happens with great music. When, if you haven't ever listened to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, get a cushion, sit on the floor, put on Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, and watch your spine align. It is absolutely astonishing. He was tapped into something, you know, and healing occurs. This doesn't occur with every form of music, but it occurs with great and powerful musicians who are tapping into this cosmic energetic and allowing. So just the simple act of hearing a voice speak, what are we relating to? What are we really hearing when we're hearing that? It depends on where we're listening from. So if we're listening to a child tell us they're hungry and we need to get food together, we're listening from the point of view of loving the child, wanting to care for the child. Or perhaps we're listening from the point of view of just wanting to stop them from nagging us and we need to just move on. This is not a subtle and sacred. This is a real, like, mundane electromagnetic field experience. However, the act of hearing transformational musical experiences, and I know Hosanna, so I know she's a brilliant singer and musician. And one of the things that happens is that it's frequency, right? It's sound is frequency. And that relates to what's called the harmonizing network, which is a network based completely on subtle sound. We are held together by the glue of subtle sound. And that subtle sound is created in the harmonizing network. We have different resonating chambers. Here we go, here's a picture. We have all these resonating chambers that are occurring. This is, you don't see the resonating chamber. Can you show that one resonating chamber picture? But the resonating chambers create sound. So there are 8 resonating chambers, and then there's a 9th resonating chamber that creates the sound of interconnectedness for all humanity. So these 8 chambers all resonate at a specific frequency and are related to different systems in the sacred anatomy and actually hold us together. So sound is really an important part of the subtle experience, but it isn't physical sound. It isn't the sound that you hear electromagnetically, and it isn't generated electromagnetically. It's generated in subtle energy. And the subtle energy sound that holds us together is a little like a neurotransmitter in our chemical system in our physical body. So those sounds, those sacred sounds that hold us together, resonate if you sing an exact frequency that coordinates with those, and we have named those frequencies. So it's very interesting to, as a musician myself, to know what those frequencies are and to sing them or resonate with them, and feel how it impacts way more than just my physical body. If you're a singer, you know that when you make a sound, The head is resonating, the chest is resonating, the body. If you're really singing in a high frequency, your whole body is vibrating, everything is vibrating. And that vibration is also happening at the sacred and the subtle level. So I don't know if I answered your question, Hosanna, but I gave it a shot. There you go. That's about as good as I can get at the moment. Do you have a good list of your, what is this, best transformational music? Well, I'm kind of in love with Stephen Halpern's music. I think it's absolutely spectacular. Stephen's a personal friend of mine, and I have experienced his personality as well as his music. And he is a little nerd who just wanted to understand how the frequency of the brain was inspired or struck by music, because he's a great piano player. He was a jazz piano player. And he discovered in the early 70s that if he took, actually it was the late 60s, if he took the frequency of the brain, because brainwave frequencies were, kind of a big deal, and we would name eta, alpha, beta, etc., different theta, So he took like theta waves and beta waves and alpha waves and put them underneath music that he then coordinated with those. So some of his music is brain healthy. If you listen to it, it changes your brain. We play, with his permission, we play Stephen's music at the front of all of our classes, because it sets people up, it helps them open. And it's very, very powerful stuff. So I personally think Stephen's work is great. Gosh, there's so many good people out now. I mean, people doing very different and unusual things, but I tend to go back to Mozart, Give me Mozart. When my grandson's over, we put on Mozart. And of course, Beethoven is always numero uno for me. And I love the ninth. It's my favorite. So just let me know what you think. I really like the singing of Kate Bush. She was somebody who was well known in the 80s. She was a very spiritual energy when she sang. Mary Black is an extraordinary singer. She's Irish, and just my blood just curdles when she sings. It's Ravi Shankar, Hosanna's coming up with great ones. So, I mean, these guys are all phenomenal and wonderful. It has a lot to do with the heart and how open the person is. There's a woman called Eva Cassidy, who's a great singer, and her rendition of Fields of Gold, written by Sting, is one of the most beautiful ever recorded. She's deceased now. Eva was a bright, shining star who lived a very short life, but left an incredible legacy. And her music is really extraordinary. So I'd recommend that. So there you go. Okay. So we are right at 11 o'clock, but I don't feel like stopping. Is it okay with you if I go a little longer? Is everybody all right with that? Okay, I'm going to keep going. So what is Christine says, Desda, I'm totally blown away with your vision and expertise. I'm so grateful for you being in the world and sharing your extraordinary contribution with others. It's very nice. Elisa has to leave. It's very late where she is in Paris. So thank you for being here with us, Elisa. God bless. I'll talk to you so soon. And then Ken says there's also a tuning system called precise temperament tuning. Aha, which is much more. Yes, that's right. When they fixed the well-tempered clavier back in God knows when that was, the 1600s or something. Maybe it was earlier. It might have been earlier. Anyway, everything changed. The music of Hildegard von Bingen is another one. Hildegard, her chants are amazing. And I gotta say, pretty much any gypsy music is gonna just grab me. So just anybody flailing on a guitar. Pretty much. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being here, Ruth. All right. So there are people that are unable to stay, but the rest of you are able to be here. Charissa, what are you doing? Are you making baskets? Show us what you're doing, because it's like fascinating.
I'm making a gigantic 8-foot by 24-inch helix shape that's going to hang from a ceiling with a bunch of glass, and I'll show you the start of it. But that's not why I'm here. So,
Oh my God, look at that, you guys.
yeah.
That looks like the
Right.
caduceus. That's amazing.
Let's see. Here.
Well, why are you here? Bye, Celine.
Because I have had a bunch of amazing experiences that are energetic or downloads, and I see like a clear energy around people, and I'm just trying to like find my footing and gather information. So I'm attending as many free things of different types as I can to see what language speaks to me.
Wow,
So,
that's exciting. That's
yeah.
great. Well, keep
Yeah.
doing your amazing art, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for letting me be here.
It's great to see you. All right, so what's next? Let's see. No, people just saying goodbye is all I'm seeing in the chat. Maybe there isn't more to talk about. Anybody got another
Yes,
question?
there was a question earlier on from Kirsten.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean-
sorry, I missed that.
She said, you've been talking about the major chakras, not the reflective or our chakras.
Right.
Just wanted to hear a little bit about how the major chakras relate to the reflective chakras or our chakras.
Can you show that one flat picture, the reflective chakra picture, Cheryl? So the reflective chakras are in the electromagnetic system. So these are, there are 10 chakras in the reflective electromagnetic system that are not the major chakras. So this is what it looks like. So this is an overview from above. You see our major chakra we've been talking about, the core at the center, the front, the back, and then the corridors at the side, the incoming current and the outgoing chakra stream. Now, there's a place at the side of the corridor called the point of origin. And the point of origin is a kind of moment when the subtle and the material meet. And it has to do with the way that the major chakras are anchored in and by the physical body. So for example, let's take an easy one, the throat. So your throat chakra anchors into your thyroid on either side of it. But that's subtle energy touching electromagnetic energy. And when that happens, it creates a kind of explosion of awakening. And in that moment, 4 little vortexes are formed. We can go back to the picture. 2 at the front and 2 at the back. So the 2 at the front spin out, and there's a kind of a explosion of awareness. It starts small and then turns a corner, and it gets bigger. And then come back to me, Cheryl. And what happens is that one is going this way, one is going that way. These guys meet and they're going this way. And as they're going that way, they're spinning out. And the spinning that occurs carries essentially this communication message of subtle meets material and awakens, and now we're talking. So the electromagnetic reflective field is dedicated to being a bridge between subtle and material. And this is one of the ways it does that, Kirsten. So it starts to move out, and as it does, it opens up and becomes kind of a cornucopia shape, and it moves out and opens as almost like a funnel finally at the edge. And it's just going out into the universe. So it's bringing the deeper message of the sacred, the crossing of the purpose, the function, and the wisdom current of the core, and the incoming current of the chakras, what is initially the soul pathway, and as it exits the chakra stream. So it's crossing here, and at the center, it is informed by divine source, because it goes, all three of those currents go through the core. And when they go through the core, it's like they have this, what I call an informing education. So it's like going to university. They come through the core and they're awakened. And then they move out at the back. So this awakened message, intentionally set at the beginning of the chakra, informed by divine source, cooled by the energy of intention around both wisdom and function chakra points, the nodules at the front. And as it comes to the back, it comes into receptivity, because the whole idea of the major chakra is to receive the download that comes from the interaction with the core. So the intention interacts with the core, becomes enlightened essentially, and then moves on out and through and into the chakra stream. So it's identified now. What's happening on the sides at the where the connection occurs with the spinning of the reflective chakra in another system, in the electromagnetic field system, is the desire to share the information. So it's shared at the front, going forward, and it's shared at the back, going backward. And both of those places are sharing the message that this chakra is giving to the world. So without the reflective chakra system, we wouldn't be delivering our message to the world. We're kind of stopped. So it's extremely important that these 7 systems of the sacred anatomy work together so that we are understood and felt, and we can make our offering. So why do we need to make an offering? What's that all about? Like, who cares? Who cares? Whatever, what offering we're making. We are making an offering that is unique to each of us. Each human being has a specific gift that they're bringing. There may be 1,000 people that are doing the same thing, but they're doing it in their way. And as each of us make our offering, and artists know this, artists see this, musicians get this, there's a gift that's unique to you. So the 7 millionth time you've played Girl from Ipanema, you're still bringing a gift. You're still giving something open and critical. The 12,000th time that you bring the colors of red and yellow together to make orange is always unique. Every time it's different. So this is the same in everyone's life. If you're not a brilliant artist or a great singer, it doesn't matter. If your greatest artistic endeavor is making a bed really well, that is a gift. Believe me, as a person who sleeps in beds, it's a great thing. So I think it's important for us to take credit for what we do well and to continue looking at what we could do more of. Like, what could we offer more of ourselves? And what part of ourselves is truly expressing the best? Where are we leading from? What part of our energy structure, what part of our chakra system. In the sacred anatomy chakra system, which is called the blended energy system, because we blend that energy at the rear of the chakra and then send it out. We have 13 chakras, and all 13 of them have a gift. Every single one of them is directing something into the world, and it's unique to you, totally unique to you. So I think I answered your question, Kirsten. Yeah, all right. How has sacred anatomy touched your life? Let me ask a question. I can't hear you, Naomi, but I'd love to. Come off the mute. How has sacred anatomy touched your life?
It's funny.
Nobody?
I when you said come off mute, I was saying that's a great question. That's what I was saying. But sacred anatomy, energy medicine really gets me to look at the world in a different way and acknowledge who I am, and is even though I sit in a room by myself at any time of the day, if I'm in my house on my own, I'm still impacting everyone else. And I couldn't believe until doing this work. That's one thing. The big one is recognizing how amazing every single person on this planet is. That's a huge one for me, and recognizing that. So thank you. That's where I come from.
That's beautiful. I love it. So, how has sacred anatomy touched your life? Anybody else? Yes, Barbara Short, the beautiful Barbara.
Oh, well, I would just like to say that it has just expanded the joy, expanded my hope. And what I mean by hope is like love in action, love in action. Like it is created, it is in expanded my vehicle for love in action, and I'm just love the connections I make with each and every person I've met through Sacred Anatomy, and just the vibrant, like the increased vibrancy, health I've experienced through receiving the medicine. Anyway, I just am so thrilled. It's wonderful, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. I love to hear these things. Anybody else want to share what sacred anatomy means to them or has done for them? Yes, Elizabeth.
The first major thing that it helped me with was to understand, number one, people are different from me and there's nothing wrong with it. And I get on all kinds of people and beings that used to annoy me. I appreciate them and I get it. And I'm able to say, oh, we're simply wearing a different pair of glasses, peering at the world. That's all. And that was tremendously useful, particularly with certain family members that you can, I mean, it's our family that gets on nonsense, right? Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. And people are having to take off, so we probably should end. But Ken, lovely to see you again. And wow, Leslie, what a transformative event. She's shifted, and I love that. Abby, I'm sending information about the workshop in Europe. If anybody's in Europe, I'm sending information. If you have friends in Europe, we're going to send a big mailing out about this big workshop in Europe. So I hope everybody will share this, because believe it or not, we need help getting the word out in the world. It's just us over here, just us little folks.
Is there going to be translation into French or not? Or is it?
I don't think so, because I teach in English. But fortunately, most Europeans actually speak English, so I'm lucky in that department. All
And
right.
I've got some things to share, so we want to let you know about the next time. Mark your calendars, March 7th, we're doing this again, these wonderful Fridays with Desda. You can see there is great, elegant, and sophistication to the sacred anatomy, and we love your questions. So mark your calendar for Friday, March 7th, and again, May 2nd at 10 o'clock Pacific. And then also, Desda has an exciting offering also coming up in March, and that's the Sacred Anatomy Edge Express. Why don't you tell people about that new class, Desda?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I used to uh, teach the edge in either a 1 day or a weekend class, and then when we had COVID, I went to teaching it at in a 6-week module kind of way. But I've decided to reduce the amount of information that's shared down to 3 hours. And so the Edge Express is a 3-hour class. It's much less expensive. What are we charging for this? 79? Is that right, Cheryl? Yeah, so $79. If you've taken the Edge before, it's even less. And go on our site and find out about it. Register for March 3rd. It's a 3-hour class. And I teach the Edge practice, which is the cornerstone of how to work with the sacred and subtle. Pardon? Oh, okay. Bob has just poked his nose in and said, March 3rd registration is not available yet, but it will be shortly. So just know that it's coming, put it on your calendar and check in a couple of days to see if it's available. So lovely to see you guys. Thank you so much for coming. And I hope Juliana stay on the line. I'm gonna talk to you after class. So much love to each of you. Michelle, I hope you will come to the European class. It would be great to meet you in person and share, share, share. What can I say? Help me.
Thank
See
you,
you later.
Desda.
Okay, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye, Hosanna.